with you. This is what they're... This is what... Sooner or later, I will snap, and they will all say, oh, really? Oh, Mr. Evans from number 14. That's strange. Seems such a quiet man. Hardly ever see him. See him go past his stairs window occasionally. Looking a bit grumpy. 14 dead. Well. I do think cats are a dangerous trip hazard. I'm amazed. I think objectively, I don't think that's just me. I bet thousands of old people every year are killed by their cats. Never shows up on the autopsy, does it? Because the cat's fucked off by then. If it was a dog, it would at least hang around looking guilty, not the cat. 6 o'clock that evening, the cat's got a new owner. Some old deer up the road she's been grooming for a couple of months. Stretched out by the fire, nice turkey dinner on the way. Memories of the previous owner like tears in the rain. 3 days later, somebody notices a smell. They break in. Oh, she had a fall. She didn't have a fall. She was killed by her cat. If I am killed by the cat, I will open a vein if necessary. I will write the single word cat in blood on the wall before I pass out. I know what will happen. They'll go, oh, cat. I wonder what he was trying to say. It is a worry growing old, and the thing that does annoy me, I'll be honest with you, we moved down to Hove about 10, 12 years ago, just on the edge of Brighton. I thought it was like Brighton. Brighton is very young and trendy and full of young people having fun. Hove, it's only a couple of miles away, but it's a very different vibe. There's a lot of old people there, a lot of rest homes and retirement homes, or at least there were. I don't know, many of them up for sale now, but... and you do worry, you know, it's a little bit contagious. And the irony is, we moved there for the kids. For the benefit of our kids, that is, I should clarify. And that would be an unwise confession to come out with at this point, wouldn't it? Having developed some sort of rapport with the audience. Yeah, we are keen paedophiles, my wife and I. Bit disappointed with the local stock? No, we are not keen paedophiles. We're not reluctant paedophiles either. I want to emphasise that's not the important aspect. I think to be honest, once you've had kids of your own, the idea of paedophilia becomes more baffling than anything else, doesn't it, really? The idea that anyone would voluntarily choose to spend time with children when not legally obliged to do so just seems extraordinary to me now. My kids are growing up a bit now. I mentioned the other two acts, of course, are still in the very early stages of parenthood, but my daughter is 17 now, 17 under lockdown, and very much a young woman in her own estimation. I have to take her word for it. She has a good, healthy relationship with my wife. I imagine I will have another conversation with her when she gets married. But my son, Edward, as I mentioned, he's, just turned 14. He's a bit of a handful, to be honest. There are times I wish he had been a handful about 15 years ago. That would have saved me a few quid, but it's done now. Done now. Take it on the chin. That was my suggestion, but it's done now. No, I'm kidding. Love him dearly, of course I do. He's like a dog to me. But they're agents of chaos, small boys. You have to embrace that, otherwise you go crazy. I remember when he was about 2 years of age, and he was just learning to speak, and he was quite slow to get vocabulary going, to be honest. First 2 words were mummy and daddy. That was fine. His third word, when it came, was bugger, which he began to shout randomly, it seemed to me, and in order to embarrass me. And it was embarrassing, especially in Brighton, obviously, but also just generally, walking around. Small child is swearing in a slightly old-fashioned manner. And then I realised the word he was trying to say was just bug, like a beetle or a caterpillar or something like this. And I could now correct it to it. It amuses me. Now I could actively provoke it. I could do it at will. It was brilliant. I had a few little plastic ones I carried around in my pocket. If an elderly relative or a neighbour came over, started droning on about the weather, I'd position a ladybird, sit back and wait for the magic to happen. It's marvellous. Edward shouts, bugger, bugger. And they all look shocked, and then I explain and went, breaks the ice. Nice, we all have a laugh. Next door's Tabby crosses the lawn. Edward shouts, fucking cat again! That was a little bit harder to explain. It's probably something he picked up at nursery or something, isn't it? Probably one of those songs they sing. They probably have actions for it and everything. I think parenting is good fun. I would recommend it. It's a
So thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight. And when we did this just over a year ago, I didn't think we would be doing it again. I was really looking forward to the Christmas party early in December, and was particularly disappointed that it was cancelled, had to be cancelled. I'd watched this show a year ago online because, you know, being in my 60s, COVID, not a good combination. But now, thanks to the wonders of vaccination, I feel comfortable being here tonight. And I'm really looking forward to a fabulous show. I was just talking to one of the people who's going to be entertaining us, who's from Stockport, and as well as everybody who's in the room here today. We have people online from the department, but also people watching it online virtually from the UK Biobank team up in Stockport, where the coordinating centre is. So again, thank you to everybody who's come. Thank you to the Playhouse for organising this on our behalf. Really very grateful to you for doing that. And particularly thank you for the three people who are going to entertain us for the next hour. So enjoy yourself. And again, thank you for everything that you've been doing over the last 2 years to help deal with the problems of the pandemic, as well as doing everything else that the department is trying to do in terms of population health. So have a good time, and thanks again. Bye.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together, make some noise, and welcome your host and compere for the evening, George Lewis. Hello, and another round of applause for Rory, please. He's a nice guy. Is he people's bosses? Is he your boss? Yeah? Good boss? They didn't all go for it, Rory. Well, thanks all for coming, by the way. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out. It's brilliant. This should feel, hopefully this feels like it's a celebration. Also a work event, which is often blurry, isn't it, those two things? But it's it's good. And you guys, I've been reading about what you guys have done over the last 2 years. You guys, I didn't understand it, but you guys are heroes. When they make a film about this, you'll be in it. You'll probably be the nerdy science people that get killed first, but you'll be in it. And well done. It's amazing. We, as comedians, we didn't really do anything during the lockdown. We all lost all of our work just to get by. A lot of us had to get government PPE contracts just to. But no, it's just good to be out. It's good to be back performing for everyone. And I've been spending a lot of time at home as well because we were locked away. And my wife, she gets quite angry with me. She gets angry with me about a lot of things. But she There's one man in there going, yeah, me too, brother. But she woke up recently. I don't know if any of you ever had this. She woke up recently and she was angry with me because of what I did in her dream. You had this? Yes. I heard a yes. Who said that? Yes. Did you do something in the dream, or did? I didn't want to ask. You didn't want to ask. You just knew that you'd done something wrong. Is your partner here? Oh yeah. So you work together? No, plus one. Oh, I've been saying you're all heroes. What? What do you do? He's quickly put his mask back on, this guy. He's hiding. So which one of you is the hero? Him. And what do you do?
I work in publishing.
She works in publishing. That's pretty good. It's not saving lives, but it's it's pretty good. Have you been a busy time for you as well then, publishing, I guess? Have you been publishing a lot of books? Oh, science journals. Oh, so you're sort of in the field. I mean, is it any would know? No, not the famous ones, not the big ones. well, so, oh, wait a minute. So back to the point. What did he do in your dream?
Do you know what? I didn't even remember. 5 minutes later, I couldn't remember.
You just knew that he was a
About it.
bastard. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's not fair. I woke up, my wife, she was angry with me. I said, what did I do? She went, oh, as if you don't know. And I said, no, seriously, what did I do? And she said, you started getting off with my sister. Yeah. So I went, go on. No, I didn't really. I said, oh, that is mental. And she went, I know you'd never do that. And I said, no, it's mental. We had the same dream. What? What? And she was angry with me after that. So have we got parents in? Any parents? No. I suppose you've not really got enough time on your hands, have you? I worry a little bit. I worry a little bit about becoming a dad. I don't know if I want to be a dad. I don't know if I want to have kids. I have got a couple. But I'm not sure, because it's a confusing thing. Like, everyone, before you become a parent, everyone goes to you, oh, you've got to do it. This, maybe a lot of you are having this now. They go to you, oh, it's the best thing you'll ever do. It's the best thing we ever did, the best thing. And then when you tell them you're going to become a parent, they give you a look as if to go, unlucky suckers. And that's it. It's a trick. They're all tricking you. So I'd say, don't do it. But there are nice points. Like I enjoy taking my son out in his pram, and people come up to you and they're lovely to you, and they always have a look at my son though, and they always go, oh, he's a bruiser, which is a polite way of saying, you sir have a fat baby. And he is. He's a big lad. He doesn't fit in his cot anymore. He has to sleep in our bed, and I sleep in his cot. That's the But I said to my wife, you've got to be careful, because if there's rolling in the night, he might crush you. He's a big lad. But we've not got any new dads in? No. I worry because you're all obviously clearly very, very clever people, and you've chosen not to have children. That makes me think I've made a huge mistake. You all know something that I don't. But I do enjoy being a dad, but I didn't react very well when I found out that I was going to become a dad, and I think it was the way that I found out. Me and my wife were out, and I was quite drunk, and it was towards the end of the night, and she came up to me, and we sat down, and she was a bit nervous, and she went to me, George, I know we've not been married very long, but how would you feel about somebody else coming along to join us? Yeah, it's not clear enough, is it? You guys know it's all about clarity, choice of words. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. So I'm like, wow. So I went, I did not know that this would be something you'd want. She went, George, I've wanted this for years. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. But I'm also thinking, I don't want to come on too strong. Like, I've been thinking about it for years, but I'm also thinking, which of her friends is she going to suggest? So I went, yeah, I'm interested. Have you got any names? And she went, yeah, actually. If it's a boy, I said, whoa, no. That's not the type that I thought you were. So she went, oh, I thought you'd prefer a boy. I said, why did you think that? What have I ever done? And I said, oh, I don't think I want to do this if that's the type that you suggest. And she went, well, you've not really got an option. I'm pregnant. I said, you're pregnant as well? I said, as well as what? I said, what? I don't know. But no, I was delighted. I was delighted when I found out that I was going to be a dad. But it doesn't really hit you. So this is a warning to any of you if you're going to become dads. It doesn't hit you as the dad. So the woman has to deal with everything. It's completely unfair. The woman deals with everything during the birth, and the dad, nothing changes for you. So it all hits you all at once. And it all hit me on the day that we went in for the birth. So we walked into the hospital, and the two midwives greeted us, and they said something to me that I'd never heard before. They said hello to me, but they went, hello, Dad. I was like, what? And they went, Dad, come and stand over here. Dad, have some water, Dad. I'm thinking, this is moving too quick. You know, this morning I was young and carefree. Now I'm the dad to two middle-aged women. I don't know what I'm... started freaking out. You start thinking about all the things that you were meant to do before you became a dad, and I was feeling really faint, and my wife, who was in labour, she gave me a seat. I sat down. She said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to start a band." She's like, "What?" And I think it's because we didn't go to many of the classes, because you'll know you have to go to classes in the build-up to the birth, and we didn't go to many. We went along to one early on, and we went in and we were sat down in this small room, and the woman leading it said to us, "Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about how best to welcome your babies from womb to world." And I thought, wow, I've missed 5 aside for this. Unbelievable. And we didn't go back after that. My wife thought it was a little bit silly, so we didn't go back. But we thought we'd come up with a bit of a plan for the birth. So we decided that I was definitely going to be there, and that is quite a big decision, because the hospital car park is £3 an hour. But I was like, I definitely want to be there. And I definitely, you lot, you're all medical people, maybe it wouldn't freak you out, but I decided that I wanted to be in the room, but I'd stay up near my wife's head, so I wouldn't sort of look at what was going on. And that's what my wife wanted as well. She was like, "I don't want you looking at it." So it's like, perfect. But whenever we told people, they'd always go, "Oh, you don't know how you're going to react. It's a special moment. You don't know." I'm like, "Pretty sure I do." But you don't, because when it comes to it, it's the most, let me tell you, it's the most tense thing you ever go through your entire life. So everyone's got these important jobs, like my wife is doing the most amazing thing a human being can ever do. The midwife, is her job to deliver a life into the world safely. I'm head of water. So we've all got these jobs. And that's actually a job that I got taken off me, because I did the thing, I don't know if you've ever got someone to give you some water, and they put it to your mouth, but then you go tip it, tip it, tip it, tip it, tip it, and you get very annoyed. And I thought, I'm not going to do that to my wife, because she's a lovely lady, my wife, but she can get very tetchy when she's giving birth. I just remembered this is being streamed online, isn't it? And they said some people in Stockport are listening. That, I hope she isn't. Oh God. But I did the full tilt squeeze. Looked like her eyeballs were going to pop out. So then I didn't have a job after that. I didn't have a job, so I was just doing things that I'd seen on TV at births, just every now and again, just going, "Breathe." And she was breathing. So I was going, "Push. Push. Push. The car park's on £36 now, you got to push. You got to..." And it worked. It must have worked, because eventually it was the moment of the birth, and I could tell it was the moment of the birth, because the midwife's face, it just changed, and she sees this thing every day, but she still found it amazing, clearly, and she looked up to me and she smiled, and I smiled at her, and then she went, "I think it's time." And I went, "Oh, God." And she went, "Come and have a look." Yeah. And I surprised myself, because it was like the moment that I heard those words, I just went, "Fuck off." And that's how I welcome my baby world. Oh, you lot are lovely. So I want to tell you how the night's going to work tonight. So in a minute, I'm going to introduce your first act. They're going to do about 20 minutes or so, and then there'll be I'll come on for a few more minutes, and then it'll be your second act doing something similar. But you've just got to really enjoy yourselves. This is for you. Rory was telling me what a brilliant job you've done over the last 2 years, I guess. And you guys, did you discovered that a widely known steroid can treat COVID? Is that right? A few of you going, "Yeah, that's not exactly it, George," but is it Dexter? That one, yeah, yeah. Is that what Boris Johnson had? I'm not blaming you. I'm not. But that's something you've got to come to terms with. But no, generally though, generally, well done. You should feel proud of yourselves. Will you all be doing similar? You'll all do similar jobs. You guys, what? For instance, what are your jobs? Yeah, you mate. You're the plus one. Too many plus ones, isn't there? What is your job, mate?
I'm a scientist, but in Bristol.
He's a scientist, but in Bristol. You've travelled over. How did you both meet then? Back in Bristol. Is there a bit of jealousy because she's in Oxford? Well, mingle, network. And what's your job?
I'm a student.
Oh, you're a student? Oh, well, so you're a student, but you're a real scientist, are you? Is a real Bristol scientist better than an Oxford student? Which one wins? We'll work it out throughout the night. But you lot seem absolutely lovely. So what we're going to do in a minute, we're going to welcome Susie Ruffle to the stage. She's absolutely fantastic. And the way the night's going to work, it's just going to go all the way through. It'll be about an hour, maybe a bit less now. And yeah, it's just want you to enjoy yourselves, laugh loudly, give the acts as much as you can, and you'll get a lot back. And just enjoy yourselves. So, can we, my student and scientist friends, are you good to start the applause? Okay, so after 3? That sound good? Is that no, it's not the most scientific system, but we can go with that, yeah? So, after 3. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Spread it around the room, More. And please, welcome to the stage, Susie Ruffle!
Marvellous. I can't see any of you, so it looks like there's just no one here. So it does sort of feel like a dream. But it's very nice to be here. As George mentioned, it is nice that gigging is starting again and we're all sort of allowed to come out and try and entertain you. I did some weird gigs over lockdown. I did some of the Zoom ones. They were shit. They were really bad. It's a great way to hate your face. I go, I'll pull that face. And then I did some gigs in a car park. Yep, that's happened. Basically, they were like, there's some gigs happening in a car park, Suze, would you like to do them? And I was like, yeah, I'll do a gig outside, that's fine. And then when I got there, everyone was still in their cars, which is a weird gig. And I said, but how will I know if people are laughing? Because they have to have their windows up, that was one of the rules. And they said, oh, don't worry about that. When they laugh, they toot their horn. So what happened is you'd finish a material, as a joke, and then we go, I was like, okay, so I got through 20 minutes of that. Foolishly, I booked myself in for 2 nights. So that was my Friday. I went back on Saturday. I was like, okay, I kind of know how to play this tonight. I'm going to hate myself, but it'll be fine. When I got there, they went, oh, Suze, we're really sorry. The council have been in touch. They don't like the tooting of the horns. They really don't like it. So now the only thing we're allowed to do is they're going to flash their lights when they laugh. So then what happened is you'd finish your material to silence and then just get... Basically, I felt like I was warming up a dogging event. It was such a strange experience. So socially distanced gig, I'm here, I'm loving it. I don't care that I can't see any of you. There's noise, it's great. So I'm Susie. I live with my partner, and I is a woman. In case anyone's confused, my hair's not an accident. Neither's the suit. My partner and I spent lockdown together. We live in London, and we sort of went between mum and dad's, and when we were allowed to, I should let you know, between mum and dad's and home in London. And it was tricky because we hadn't spent a lot of time together because I'm away a lot with this job. You go all over the shop. I was actually lucky enough, just before the lockdown, I was in Australia touring, which was incredible. Do we have any Aussies in? We do. Hello. G'day. Yeah, very good. On brand. Well done you. What's your name, Aussie person?
Penny.
Again?
Penny?
Penny. That's fine. That's a name. Well done you, Penny. Whereabouts in Australia are you from, Pen? Townsville?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Pretty boring.
Was that the other Australian that laughed? Pretty boring. Penny, tell me, have you ever been to a place called Broken Hill?
I've been near there.
You've been near there. Okay, is that the Aussie that's laughing? Have you been to Broken Hill?
I tried to stay away.
You try to stay away? Okay, great. We've all got a measure of Broken Hill, right. So I did this thing where you go all over the country, playing different venues every single night in different places in Australia. It was incredible, it was amazing, but fuck me, there are some remote places. My God. I was on stage in Melbourne doing my show, had a lovely time, went off stage, went to the bar to have a drink. Guy from the audience comes up to me, hey, you're one of those comics that go all over the country. You're doing that tour, is that what you're doing? You're going to different places every night? I went, yeah, I am. He said, where are you going to next? I said, oh, I'm going to a place called Broken Hill. And he went, yeah, they've had a lesbian there once before, which made it sound like a one-in, one-out policy. So The moment my car pulled into Broken Hill, it's just a very sad lesbian with a wheelie case going, nah, fair enough, rules is rules, let me know, and she's fucked off. But, so it's very strange being at home and then going to mum and dad's. And I've got a lovely mum and dad. My mum and dad are great, they're amazing. My dad's a geezer, I've got a real geezer, blokey geezer. Dad, he's lovely, but he's a geezer. He's the kind of man that can only write in capital letters. You know, one of those means no matter what he writes, it looks aggressive. You know, he's like, happy birthday, love Dad! In crayon, that's Dad. And that's Daddy. And he tries very hard to sort of get with the times. He's trying to like learn about sort of, a lot of the LGBT stuff sort of throws him. If I'm honest, he tries, but he gets it quite wrong. I'll explain. A little while ago, he rang me. He said, hello, baby, I need to talk to you. Went, all right, Dad, what's up? He said, here, listen, baby, I've got to ask you a really serious question, right? It's really, really serious. And you need to know whatever the answer is. I love shit to bits, baby. I love shit to bits. But I need the truth. I said, Dad, whatever the question is, I'll tell you the truth, not a problem. He goes, all right, baby, you tell me the truth, you tell me the truth. Here, do you want to be a boy? I was like, oh, no, Dad, I'm just a gay girl with short hair. And he went, all right then, here's your mum. Passed the phone to Mum. Mum went, we've watched a documentary. So, I've watched something queer, it's confused them. Which one is she? I don't know, give her a ring. Mum joined Facebook over lockdown. That's the last thing you want your mum to say, isn't it? Add me. No, Facebook's dead. Mum, leave it. But she's on it, and we're friends now. She's sharing. My mum is sharing shit left, right, and centre. It can't just be my mum. My mum is sharing shit about angels, shit about horoscopes. So, yes, some other people, yeah, loving it. Shit about crystals. She's getting into crystals. I don't know why. She's become sort of new agey. The other day, she shared a picture of a dog that was lost. The dog was lost in Texas, okay? My mum lives in Portsmouth, right? One of her friends had written underneath it, I'll keep my eye out. I thought, what's happened here? Disney wants to get hold of this story. What has happened here? Why is this dog in Pompey? My hobby over lockdown was I started watching quiz shows. Now, I feel quite bad, because you are obviously people that were working very hard over lockdown. I was doing very little, and I'm sorry about that. There wasn't much that I could bring to the table. I don't have a lot of transferable skills. You know, no one really wants someone like being a key worker going, I can tap dance. Is that useful? No, fuck off. That's how it was for me. So I started watching quiz shows, and I love a quiz show. Pointless, The Chase. But my favourite in the world, is Tipping Point. I love Tipping Point. It's so good. It's hosted by Ben Shepherd. Now, listen, guys, I feel like I could tell you this. I feel like we're friends now. Don't laugh, Penny, we're friends. I'm 100% les. But there is something about Ben Shepherd. I don't know what it is, but there's something about Ben Shepherd. If you don't know who he is, he's just got this sort of boyish good looks, but he's 50, it's weird. He's just lovely to look at. And he hosts a show called Tipping Point, and it's a quiz show that has a game element. And I watch it every single day. And what I started to do is I started tweeting along to the show. Now, I've got quite a few followers on Twitter, and I was tweeting along to it, and no one was interested in what I had to say, but I'm tweeting along to it every single day because I'm loving the show. About 5 days into me tweeting along to it, Ben Shepherd slides into my DMs. I didn't even know he was following me. He said, hello, Susie, I didn't know you were a fan of the show. I was like, hello, Ben. And then he went, all right, Ruffle. I was like, oh, sheepdog, and I immediately regretted it. But he said, I didn't know you were a fan of the show. Would you like to come on the celebrity special? And look, I'll be honest with you lot, I didn't know my career was going that well. I was over the moon. I was like, absolutely, I'd fucking love to come on the celebrity special. So cut to, 3 months later, this chump is driving to Bristol, okay, because that's where the studios are, to do Tipping Point celebrity special. Now, I live in southeast London, right? From my house to the studios in Bristol, it takes exactly 3 hours. I've done it loads of times. On this occasion, I was so worried about being late that I gave myself a cool 9 hours, okay? Just 9 hours to get to Bristol, right? So I get to Bristol. Now, I need to tell you when in lockdown this is. We're in the second lockdown. So we've been in, we've been out, we're in again, okay? When we're not allowed to go for walks, all that stuff. You're only allowed to go once a day. You're not allowed to meet a friend on a park bench. If you do, you get shot by a sniper, that sort of shit. Just, you remember that time? That was very scary. So, but I get to Bristol, and I've got 6 hours to kill, because that's how maths works. And so I thought, right, well, what I'll do is I'll go for a walk. I'm allowed to be here. I'm here for work. I can prove that if anyone stops me, fine. So I go to a multi-storey car park. Now, doing this job, you drive an awful lot, right? Previous to the pandemic, I was driving all over the shop. But in the pandemic, I didn't drive very much, which meant I was less good at driving. Now, what happened was right. When I used to park, I would do a little bit of this, and then at the end, I'd do a little bit of that, right? It's classic parking. On this occasion, I'll tell you what I did. I did a little bit of this, then I did a little bit of that, and then right at the end, when I'd finished parking, I just popped my foot on the accelerator and smashed my car into a wall, okay? And then what happened? You know all the glass, you know all that glass that lives in the back of your car, you know all the glass, that window that's all in the back of your car, all of it just went, I've got to go, bye. Just all of it, shh. So now I've got a massive fucking hole in the back of my car. Now, I want to let you all know that I'm definitely a feminist. But in that moment, I'll tell you what I did. I rang my dad and went, I'm a small girl, fix this. Okay, not proud of that, but that's what's happened. I'm also 36. So, Dad said there's nothing I can do to help you. You're going to have to ring someone local. So I rang all these different places in Bristol. No one could help me. Eventually, the final man said to me, the only thing you can do to make your car legal to drive is cover the whole of the back of it in cling film. So off I popped to Wilko, okay? And so now I'm covering the whole of the car in cling film, crying at the same time, because why not? Just covering the car in cling film. And I want you all to know, for the last 10 years, I have fastidiously recycled. But in that one act, I basically went up to everything that lives in the sea and went, sod you as well, you can choke on a straw, you bottlenose prick. So, covering the whole of the car in cling film. In doing it, I accidentally sliced my hand open. So I'm not kidding now, my hand is pissing blood, but I think I can't go to hospital. I'm on Tipping Point Celebrity Special. I'll have to just bleed out. So, I cover my hand in kitchen roll and I pop it in my pocket and I genuinely think to myself, I'll deal with that later. So then I go to the studio, right? I get to the studio, I'm 4 hours early. No one is that early for a TV record. They think, like, they're like, why is she here? Anyway, so I park my car really far away because I don't want them to see it. And then I walk in and a girl that's working on the show comes out and she's like, oh, hi, Susie, you're really early, but you're very welcome. I didn't feel I was welcome. And then she looked past me and went, oh my God, is that your car? And I don't know why, but in that moment I just went, no, not my car, so I was at a crash. So now I'm living a lie. Okay, that's my life. I see Ben Shepherd, I'm very excited to see him. I'm not allowed to get very close to him because of COVID. It's not a legal thing because I fancy him. And so he just goes, Susie Raffles. So I think, well, I'll just do the same thing. So I just go, Ben Shepherd. But in doing that, I drag my hand out of my pocket and accidentally throw a bloody rag at him, okay? Mid-pandemic, I'm throwing blood at Ben Shepherd. She's like, all right, mate, love the show, have some blood. Weird vibe. Ben doesn't see it because he's looking somewhere else at the point. But the girl that's brought me into the studio thinks I'm, I guess, mid-breakdown. Mid-breakdown, somewhere around that. I get taken to makeup, then I get taken onto the studio floor. Okay, it's very exciting because I'm on with Stephen Mangan, who I love. I love him. I love Green Wing. I was very, very excited to meet him. And he's really, really, really nice and he's really, really funny. I was also on the show from someone from Made in Chelsea, who I'm sure is totally fine. But on this occasion, I was finding them very, very annoying because they were getting all their questions right and I wasn't. I was having what Ben Shepherd described as the single worst performance he's ever seen on Tipping Point, okay? I'm having a terrible time getting all my questions wrong. I'm so nervous. My hand's really hurting. I'm having a really... I'm just not at my best. And this guy from Made in Chelsea is, like, smashing it. But he just keeps going, oh, do you know, before you've even finished the question, I know the answer. Because I'm one of those lucky people. Do you know what I mean? I'm one of those lucky people. Like, if something lucky's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. And I'm just lucky today. Like, every question you ask, I know the answer. I'm one of those lucky people. And I thought, yeah, mate, you're on a TV show that you get paid to be on that's about rich people. Rich people being paid to be on TV to just show what they're like to be a rich person. I would say you are the luckiest prick that's ever lived. So I then leave the show. You have to go, oh, by the way, when you're doing one of those charity ones, you're raising money for charity. So now I'm just losing money for sick kids. Fuck yeah! So it's just dawned on me that I didn't ask whether I was allowed to swear. Sorry. So now they take you and you have to do a little like, thanks for having me, it's been really nice to be here, I've had a lovely day. It doesn't matter that I didn't win, but it does matter that I didn't win because I'm trying to raise money for sick kids and also I haven't had a great day. It's been a weird one. I threw blood at Ben Shepherd and I've smashed up my car. It's not been great. I get taken out of the studio by the girl that brought me in. She's like, oh, how are you getting home? And I'm like, oh, I've got, my friend is coming to get me, it's fine, don't worry, I've got a friend that's local, but legally we are allowed to hang out, don't worry about it. So I like back out and she's like, okay, bye, thinking that I'm the strangest person that she's ever met. I then get in my car, I shut the door. As I reverse out, I think, Ruffle, you've got away with this. Then she walks out of the studio, looks through the window of my car and goes, I thought that wasn't your car. And I went, it's not, goodbye, and drove off. I think I got weirder during lockdown, but that... And if you want to see me literally have a breakdown on television, that episode is now on the ITV Hub. so people could enjoy it and go, oh yeah, she did. She looks like she's crying. Very strange. Very strange experience. So I mentioned that I spent a lot of time at home, which I did. And my mum and dad, basically what I've realised is that I revert to being a teenager. And it's been a long time since I was a teenager, but I do revert to a teenager at home. And I wasn't a very good teenager. I was quite naughty at school, and I'm severely dyslexic. Like, I'm really, really badly dyslexic. Like, I tell you how dyslexic I am. When I drive into Wales, their signs make more sense to me. That is the level of dyslexia I have. Just like, I'll get some petrol cracking. And I didn't have many friends, and the teachers didn't like me either. I distinctly remember one teacher saying to me, Miss Ruffle, I don't think you have a career out of just chatting. Well, I think you'll find I have. He was horrid. He used to make me read aloud from the textbook because of the dyslexia. I'd make a mistake and he'd get to feel big and clever. And on one occasion I was reading aloud from the textbook and I misread a word, right? I misread the word organism. Yeah, most of you are ahead of me. A couple of dyslexics, not a clue. I said orgasm in front of 33 15-year-olds. Now, I don't know if anyone's got teenagers in, but you can imagine what happens next. The class went wild. People can't believe it's happening. Mr. Crossan takes me up to the front of the class and says to me, Susie Ruffle, you mark my words, you will never amount to anything. That's what he said to me, okay? And that's pretty harsh to a child. And so I'm thinking, right, okay, it's first heckle. Come on, Suze, what are you going to do? So quick as a flash, I said, I'll amount to more than you, wanker. Huge laugh, okay? People can't believe it's happening. I'm high-fiving my way out of the classroom. I get taken down to the headmistress's office. She's very cross. She says, we'll have to ring home. My dad comes up the school driving a pickup truck, wearing a sheepskin. It was mid-July, but he'd found his look. And in he goes into the teacher's office, and she tells him the story, and Dad goes mad. So she's bang out of order, you can't swear any of your teachers, babe. I said, Dad, please let me explain. He said, no, you're not going to explain. You've embarrassed yourself today, and you know what, you've embarrassed me. And I said, Dad, please let me explain. He said, go on then, try and get yourself out of this. I said, well, Mr. Crossan doesn't like me, and he makes you read aloud from the textbook to make a fool of me. And I misread a word, that's all I said. It was an accident. I misread a word, and then everybody laughed, and then he dragged me out in front of the whole of the class, and he told me that I would never amount to anything. So I called him a wanker. And Dad took this in, and then looked at the headmistress and went, that does sound like a type of thing a wanker would do. It was the best day of my schooling. It really was. So, it's quite... I'm sort of trying to decide... You seem like a grown-up audience. It feels like I can talk about this. I'll talk about it. Alice and I, Matt's my partner, we're thinking about having a baby. Because, well, basically, something started happening. I'll be living my life, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I'll just hear, have a baby, go on, have a baby, have a baby, have a little 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 baby. Now, I think it's my biological clock. I mean, sometimes it is my mum, but it started happening. I'll be living my life, minding my own business, and just have a baby, have a baby, have a baby. Happens if I'm in the street, if I see a baby, I'm like, that's a little baby there. I'm going to have a look at that little baby. Smile at the mum so she knows you're not weird. Little baby, hello baby. I'll squeeze the baby, tickle the baby, take the baby. I'm not taking a baby. But I have realised that is something that Alice and I want. And listen, you're a really smart bunch, so you'll know. Sometimes, people don't get it. But you will have worked out, me and Alice are missing one key ingredient in order to make a baby. Because we got wombs. We got wombs for days. In fact, we got a womb with a view of another womb. If we face each other, that's a little gag for the readers. But I'm realising as I'm doing this material that you are next to your colleagues, so I would encourage you all to really lean into this bit because... So, we're thinking about having this baby, and I said to one of my female friends, I don't know when we're going to get any sperm. And she said, well, why don't you ask one of the boys? Now, in my friendship group, most of my best friends are male stand-up comedians. No offence. I don't want a baby that keeps observing things. Also, how am I going to throw that into conversation after a gig? All right, mate, I'll have a bit on breadsticks. Any heart disease in the family? Jizz into that. I think it would be weird vibes. I think it'd be rumours. It wouldn't be good. So I thought, right, okay, I'll go to the doctor. and find out. So I went to the doctor and said, hello, can I have a baby? And he said, it doesn't work like that. And I said, well, look, here's the deal. I've got a womb with a view of another womb if we face each other, but we haven't got any sperm. And the doctor said, if you carry on talking like that, I will not treat you. And I said, that is fair enough. And then he said, look, before we do any of that, you've got to have your routine smear test, okay? You've got to do that. Now, I wondered about talking about smear tests on stage, but then I thought, you know what? I've seen male comedians, and this isn't me slagging them off, but I've seen male comedians get up and talk about their dicks for, I don't know, like, an hour? And afterwards, audience go, do you know what, that one? He's a real thinker. So I'm just trying to readdress the balance. So I am going to talk about going for a smear test, and we're all grown up, we can do this, you're proper people, but I am going to talk about it. But don't worry, the whole routine lasts about 3 minutes, and it is much easier if you relax. Okay. I'll set the scene. You're in stirrups, so it's like you've been riding a horse and the horse has buggered off, okay, and you've sort of toppled over and ended up in the back room of an NHS hospital. Then what's happened every time I've been for a smear, and I don't know if something they're rolling out just for me, but every time I've been, what seems to happen is the doctor will go, oh, hi, thanks so much for coming in, it's really important you keep updating these smear tests, and listen, this is a problem, you can say no, you can absolutely say no, it's not a big deal, but would it be all right? We have some trainee doctors in today, and could they all come in? And you want to go, no, please, no, there's a horse on the loose, could they go and get that? But you love the NHS, so you've got to go, yes, of course, no problems, absolutely fine. And then what happens between 65 and 70, trainee doctor come in, there's loads. It's like a walking tour's got lost, it's not good. Okay, I also need to let you know something. People in the room that haven't been to a smear, I need to let you know something. When you're having your smear, you feel a little bit silly. You feel a little bit silly, and I'll tell you for why. T-shirt, nothing, little pair of socks. A little bit silly. You feel a little bit like Winnie the Pooh. The doctor's back. She says, Miss Ruffle, would it be okay if one of the trainee doctors did your smear? And you want to say, no, I'll have someone that's had a crack at it before, please. But again, you love the NHS, so you've got to go, yes, is that how you learn, isn't it? Yes, of course, no problem. And then what happened is the trainee doctor came at me like this. The doctor's back. She says, Miss Ruffle, would it be okay if one of the other trainee doctors did your paperwork? I was like, yeah, one's up my chuff, they'll fill out form, carry on. Carry on. So she goes, okay, you're Susie Ruffle, that's right. I said, yeah, that's me. She goes, okay. First question, what are you using as contraception? It's like, the undercut on the Doc Martens not enough, what would you need? I said, I'm not using contraception. She went, oh, well, if you're sexually active, you do need to be using contraception. I was like, oh, I don't. I absolutely don't. She said, oh, no, you do, because even if you're using, the old-fashioned technique or, the Catholic technique, it's like, nothing about what I am doing is Catholic. She said, you should be very careful, you could have a baby tomorrow. I mean, I think it takes 9 months. I've got 4 GCSEs, you're nearly a doctor, you should know that. And she wasn't picking up what I was putting down, and what I was putting down was a K.D. Lang album, and eventually I just had to come out. Now, I don't know if there's queer people here tonight. There's often queer people around. We're everywhere now. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. But sometimes you have to come out in situations where you didn't know you were coming out that day. You hadn't put it in the diary. So I had to say, oh, by the way, I'm a gay lady. I'm a lady that's gay. I'm a lady. And the woman that was down here doing the jiggery-pokery, which I think is the official term, I said I'm a gay lady, and she popped up like I'd birthed her. So, I am very proud, actually. She's a doctor. She is older than we thought she'd be, but we are very proud. I said I'm a gay lady, and she popped up and went, oh, right, that makes sense. Snug. Now, that's not a medical term, is it? Maybe you'd know, is it? Has that gone on my record? What a weird word to use, snug. Because it sounds like she's looking down there, and she can see the back end of a Tudor pub. Is that a snug? I laughed so hard at the speculum across the room. You've done very well with that. As I got into it, I thought, I think they're going to really close up, but you didn't. I didn't mean to do that pun there, but there we go. My dad saw that routine for the first time the other day, and he was utterly horrified. Listen, you've got a fantastic headliner. It's a real pleasure to have been here with all of you this evening and to celebrate the incredible work that you did last year. My name's Susie Ruffle. Maybe I'll see you another time. All the best, and good night!
Susie Ruffle! Excellent. I'll bring Simon out in a minute. Just before I do, that sort of tale from Susie there about this horrible but necessary but very difficult experience that she had, it reminded me that me and my wife went to IKEA recently for the first time. And have you guys been to IKEA as a couple? Yeah. How was it? It was good. Your eyes aren't saying it's good, mate. Your eyes are saying it was horrible. It's terrible, isn't it? It's terrifying. I didn't realise why beforehand, but you go and it's an odd shopping experience because you go for a wardrobe, but you leave with a drawer divider, a garlic crusher, 2,000 tea lights, a rug, a jug, divorce, meatballs. And it's just full of other couples who are arguing. And I didn't know why that would happen, but now I know why, because you go in and you're walking around together and you're looking at things, so inevitably you're discussing stuff, and as you're discussing stuff, you're slowly realising that you and the person that you chose to share your entire life with have nothing in common. And it's quite big stuff as well. It might be quite big stuff, like it might turn out, for instance, that you don't really like the cushions with the little pom-poms on the corners. And it might turn out that she doesn't really like your family. It's the sort of thing that comes out. You're not quite sure about orange for the bedroom. She hates the way you breathe. Great shop. Yeah. And you go in, they decorate everywhere in there as well, so it looks like it's a room in your house. So everyone just feels immediately comfortable having a domestic in there. Straight away. We walked in, the first thing that we heard when we walked in was a woman saying to a fella, "Well, Roy, if we can't agree on a shelving unit, what the hell have we been doing for the last 15 years? Jesus. You want to turn back, but you can't because you're on a one-way system. So you've just got to carry on, keep up to a certain speed, or you'll get swept up by this tidal wave of collapsing marriages. So you've just got to press on, stick to the path as well. You don't want to stray from the path. It's a very confusing place to get lost. The one near me, I go to one in Warrington, if you know where that is. So it's halfway between Manchester and Liverpool, which means it's a very disorientating place to get lost. Because I'll be lost, I don't know where I am, and then there'll be a Scouse bloke wandering around, speaking Swedish. Now that's not what you expect to hear. That language wasn't designed for these people. He's walking around going, "Love, should we get the Archel shop or the Gorkenbakken?" I'm like, what? If he discovers the Hacken-Vicken Stacker set, he's going to cough up a furball. So I'm thinking, just stick to the path. But even the path is fraught with danger. There's always a kid on the floor just having an absolute meltdown. When we went, there was a lad on the floor, and he was just crying his eyes out, and he was smashing this, like, soft broccoli toy against the floor, just going, "I don't want to be here." And I'm thinking, I don't want to be here either, mate, but we're here. And then he got up, and to make his point further, he walked over to a set of drawers and started trying to slam them, but they were soft close, so he was getting even more frustrated. And I'm getting stressed out, thinking, what's he going to do? And I'm just thinking, George, just get through this, and there's a big old bag of dime bars waiting for you at the end, that's all. And eventually, we made it through. We made it through with our marriage intact, just about. And the thing to do, I think, the way of coping in IKEA, is to find a couple who are worse off than you. That's the... We just about made it to the end. And you can look back through to previous sections. And I looked back through and I saw a couple that looked like they were right at the start and already they were broken. I thought, brilliant. She looked like she hated him. He didn't even know where he was. I said to my wife, "I know it's been bad, but at least we're not them through that window." She said, "That's a mirror." Got the hell out of there. You guys are so lovely. I hope you're all having a good night. And what we're going to do now is we're going to bring out your headliner, Simon Evans. He's absolutely fantastic. So if you could just be as loud as you've been, even louder, and just enjoy yourselves. So Please, I'll get my friends to start the applause again. So after 3, 1, 2, 3 here. Bring it around the room. Bit more, bit more, bit more. Please welcome to the stage, Simon Evans.
Good evening, hypothetical crowd. How are you? I can see nothing to support the applause that I heard there. That could very easily have been streamed in from some applause generating machine. All I can see is 2 empty front rows. My eyes are dim. I'm an old man. I'm not used to this kind of mixed media kind of event. But I'm going to start this evening with a joke, and we'll see how that pans out. Feeling nervous yet? Good. I have a joke that I use in order to lay a little bit of foundation when I find a gig slightly unusual or challenging in some respect. It's a traditional old-fashioned British pub joke. These are the sort of thing people used to change hands over the bar before professionals were brought in and the whole thing was monetised and commodified. Terrible downward slope we began at that process. This is a good old-fashioned British pub joke. 3 men, varying ethnicities, all to be found within the British Isles. They confront a situation and, broadly speaking, they react in line with our expectations. We feel at once amused and reassured, and we get the lie of the land. On this occasion, the 3 men are an Englishman, of course, a Welshman, and a Pakistani. Sudden nervous tension overwhelms the room. Very possibly the live feed as well. Don't worry, fully vetted 21st century joke, I assure you. English, Welsh, Pakistani, these 3 men congregate one morning at the maternity ward of their local hospital, a familiar setting for many of you, I expect. And they're there for entirely legitimate reasons, I should emphasise. It's not some sort of sordid Jimmy Savile type scenario. Their wives have given birth, and they're there to go and congratulate them and collect the children and take them home, that being the traditional remedy. However, their mood is one of joyous anticipation, I should emphasise initially, from which we may reasonably deduce that they are first-time fathers, because you don't get that feeling twice. But this mood, fragile as it is shattered prematurely when they're informed by the doctor in charge there's been a bit of a mix-up, and he can no longer say with any great certainty whose son is whose. Now, you or I in this situation, I imagine you in particular would be well aware of your rights and the legal position. You probably go home and inform your solicitor and begin a long and costly but ultimately profitable suit against a local health authority. You might demand that a DNA test be conducted in order to establish paternity. However, this being a joke, the 3 men agree to sort it out between them. The Englishman goes in first, as is his right, according to strict alphabetical order. Sorry, I should have emphasised that. And indeed God's will, but we'll go with alphabetical order. The Englishman goes in first and emerges a moment later with what is quite clearly, even to the medically untrained eye, the Pakistani child. Pakistani gentleman says as much, and the Englishman says, well, I'm sorry, mate, but one of those 2 in there is Welsh, and I'm not taking any chances. It's a good joke, isn't it? It's the relief, I think, as much as anything. Sure it would be with you, it's the relief. It is a racist joke, but the good kind. It's the Welsh, that's all right. I mean, some people might find even that aspect offensive, but I feel I have the moral authority to tell jokes at the expense of the Welsh for 2 reasons, really. Firstly, I have a little Welsh blood in me, myself. Not a great